Phase Hero, episode 40, aka your Tuesday night therapy session, is in session. Well, BD here, joined tonight by Aaron Perrine.
What's going on, y'all? I look forward to the BD rap break every week now.
That's the thing. If you don't watch live, you miss the rap freestyle, and it just comes and it goes, and it gets cut from the episodes in the edit. We got Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody. I'm glad I didn't have to be the person to shout that out, because you definitely need to be watching live to not miss those. That was delightful.
120 people caught it tonight.
Hell
Hello,
yeah.
everybody. Jamie Jurak is here.
I wasn't ready for it. I'll tell you that right now. Hello.
Despite what everybody thought on Monday, tonight Jamie does not hate Phase Hero.
Oh my gosh, you missed this one episode.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes around these parts. So welcome to the show, everybody. This is our Daredevil Born Again, episode 3 review, discussion, breakdown, everything we saw about it, everything we cried over. And there will be clips from a series I just launched on the channel called Daredevil Director Debriefs. And each week I will have dives into all of the episodes with the directors of each episode. And this one was interesting because it was directed by Michael Cuesta. And I learned, actually, I can just tee this up right away. I learned that this episode was actually part of the original pilot. Michael Cuesta directed episodes 2 and 3, and those were originally intended to be the pilot episodes for Daredevil Born Again before Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson came in and did the true episode 1, which saw the death of Foggy. So I'll just start with that real quick, show you what it looks like.
It came to me from, the producers and the writers. It was the first 2 episodes originally. I don't know if these are things that I should say. It was the pilot and the second episode.
The show got reworked a bit.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it came to me originally as the pilot and the second episode, and I was really by the writers and the producers, and I was drawn to this story. First of all, I'm always drawn to characters who have secrets.
Yeah, so the full interview is available on the channel. It's in podcast form. It's everywhere. But you get the point there that I find it interesting. You know it's going to be a good quote when it starts with, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. But, but it is known. I do appreciate that we're getting a little bit of clarity on what was reworked and all that. But we'll get into all that. The show has to start with reactions. That full interview is available on the channel. It's already in podcast form, so give it a watch after tonight's episode, after you listen. Aaron, what did you think of episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again? Oh, you're muted. We'll go to Jenna real quick. Jenna, what'd you think?
I thought this was exceptional. I think I liked this the most out of all of the episodes that we've seen so far. I love a good, well-written legal drama, and I think that this had me on the edge of my seat, like not knowing at all where any of this was going to go. I have to shout out Jill Blankenship, who wrote this episode. She has worked on Arrow. She's worked on other superhero stuff before, but like she really, really made this episode great. Like the script was unbelievable.
Yeah. Jamie, what'd you think?
I really liked it. I kept thinking of when Jen and She-Hulk says, lawyer show. I'm like, yeah, we're back. This is a lawyer show. And I also kept thinking about how it really does feel like a continuation. Thank you, Hannah, for shouting out my background. It really does feel like a continuation of the other show in a way that's interesting because that show has always been bingeable. And it's exciting the way that this episode ended on a really good cliffhanger. I'm like, oh, I love that I have to wait a week. I love that. So I was into it. I would say if I was going to make a complaint, I could have used a little action, but that's just me being nitpicky. I quite enjoyed myself.
Aaron, what about you?
Pretty good. Not completely my cup of tea. In fact, one member of the House completely felt betrayed by the end. She's like, no, that's not right. And, them's the breaks, unfortunately. But, compelling start. 3-episode start to a show. You can't really ask for a better first couple episodes out, you know?
I agree. I think I love this episode. That ending shocked me. I was pissed. I was so mad. I was just like, you guys just got my heart into this man, and then you ripped it out. And also, it does hit harder when you think about the fact that Camar de los Reyes has passed away since filming that White Tiger role. That's another thing I talked about with Michael. I'm glad they didn't shy away from sticking to their plan, though.
What's interesting is I kind of expected him to go quickly because when he did pass in real life, they didn't make a thing of it in terms of like, are we going to recast this character? Are we going to do this? It almost like it was so sad in real life, but it also like kind of made me guess what was going to happen.
Sure.
But it was still really great writing, and I'm bummed because he like it's sad on like 10 different levels because he was so talented. I was loving him in this episode, and the fact that not only is the character gone, but he's gone, it really is a double whammy of horridness.
Yeah, that ending was tough, but it makes sense that this was originally the end of what would have been a 2-part pilot, because that's a great hook. Like I would say both of these 2 episodes had great hooks, because last week's episode 2 ended with Daredevil on the ground level, basically looking up, like ready to take on Kingpin, who is now Mayor Fisk, which he wins that election in that episode, and then, or in the end of the first episode. And then the end of this now is he got White Tiger off of this trial, and boom, shot Punisher mystery unfolding, all that stuff. It's a great hook in my opinion. And I think what Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson did with that first episode was give that action, Jamie, that you just said you wanted, because there's no Daredevil. There's no Daredevil at all in this episode. And we've seen already in Daredevil, which Jamie, you just watched, Matt without his Daredevil suit. You know what I mean? So we get a lot of that this season. I'm glad they started with just coming out swinging, literally. But yeah. Overall, we'll rate the episode out of 10 towards the end of this episode. Over 200 people watching live. Thank you all so much for watching and joining us on Phase Hero. By the way, merch is on phasehero.com. We made a sale today. Thank you so much for everybody. What, you think you could just buy it once and then stop buying it? You got to get the same t-shirt. You got to like SpongeBob SquarePants in the closet there. Just the same Phase Hero shirt filling the whole... No, I'm just kidding.
I need to catch up because like there's so Jenna keeps putting cool shit on there.
Yeah, dude. I just ordered the Pod Without Fear t-shirt. It's not here yet.
Oh, yeah. I really need to get in on this. It is so cool when people tag us specifically in the one with our names on it. These like just people walking around with our names on their shirt is pretty wild. I like that.
I need to see somebody at an OVW show or at the CCW show in Nashville this weekend with this Phase Hero shirt in the crowd. I will go nuts. It'll give me an extra oomph in the ring. And everybody who watched Overdrive tonight, thank you so much for that. But we're not going to talk about that because I could go all night with it. Let's get into Daredevil's nitty-gritty of the story here. Anything else you want to talk about before? I'm just going to run through the talking points of this episode, and we could just figure out what we want to talk about from there.
Before we get deep into this episode, can I just clarify a mistake I made last week?
Oh boy.
BD, last week I kind of threw you under the bus, and I was like, BD, you overhyped this. And like, what were you talking about? So I understood something. You sent a text, and you were like, the show is going to have a huge breaking thing that people are going to be talking about. And I thought you were talking about Daredevil, but you were talking about our show. You were talking about Phase Hero breaking news, which we did. It was awesome. I missed that. I didn't know we had an exclusive until after it was recorded. And to the point where like, I was like, am I stupid? And I asked both Jen and Aaron and they both understood what was happening. So this one's on me. So you did not overhype Daredevil. You properly hyped our own show. And I just wanted to apologize to you for that misunderstanding.
I mean, I was a little bit like, wait, was that scoop of Foggy being in season 2 not good enough for you, Jamie? Damn.
No, it was really good. I just it was better.
That's all right. No, I'm just messing with you. I listen, motivation to get a better scoop on the next director debrief. We got Paul Braziz, $9.99. Thank you, my friend. Do we think the Officer Morales mention was Miles' dad? They made sure we heard it. Obviously, his name is Jefferson Davis, but we know the MCU is known to change things. No, I don't think so. I mean, actually, in the same Brad interview that he said Foggy is coming back in season 2, he explained that they can't use Spider-Man characters in live action, and unless they made a secret deal, which is not impossible, but I don't think they did. So I'm just going to go ahead and set the expectation on that one. I don't think we're going to see Miles Morales or Spider-Man characters in Daredevil. Merely a reference to a man dresses like a spider. All right, so the episode opens with Matt and Hector talking in the prison. Hector wants to get back to Puerto Rico and hear the coquille. Oh, we heard the coquille, though. Oh, did we? That was tough. That was a tough touch at the end of the credits. If you didn't listen to the credits, everybody. Whew. Tough. Wilson and Vanessa talking. she's basically Queenpin at this point, and it feels to me like Kingpin is grasping for control. What's your guys' read on the dynamic between Kingpin and Vanessa and Wilson at this point?
I feel the same way I felt last week, which is that I don't like seeing them fight. Like, even though they're evil and awful, I like their romance. It's twisted, but I like it. And I just hope they can work it out. I hope this therapist is good at her job. But I do think it's interesting that, like, she's like, we're supposed to be like gangster people, like making all this money. Why isn't he communicating with her? Because he has to have a bigger plan here. Like, just use your words. Guys, I don't want them to get a divorce. I'll be really sad if that happens.
I have to admit, like the Adam reveal in the premiere kind of took me a beat to figure out what it meant, because I also was thinking of friend of the show Adam Barnhart, and I was like, his name is in this show. He has to be so happy. But then once I actually registered the context of that, I was like, oh, I see now why they're fighting and why they're on such uneven ground. But I think having the dynamic be the way that it is really interesting, even though I do agree with Jamie of like, I don't want to see them fight either.
Jenna, is there like comics precedent for Kingpin getting cheated on?
I mean, not to my knowledge, but
like there might be. I mean, I feel like everything has happened in comics, but nothing came to my mind either. And I just know you know more than me on that front.
They can work through it. Infidelity doesn't have to be the end. Okay.
Wow.
You heard it here first, guys.
But it probably is. From
no one tell Tony I said that.
Don't tell Tony I said. Wow, tune into Lido, everybody. We're about to have an interesting conversation on the next Shield recap. Officer Powell. I wish I had a soundboard for SpongeBob, that character in the background of the comedy club that goes, "Oh, brother, this guy stinks." Because Officer Powell sucks. Guy's a bum. Hate him. Got his ass beat at the end of last week, and this week he came back for more. And it's like he forgot that even though Matt's blind, he still put a pounding on Powell. Proceeds to be full of it in court. Got a bruise on his face like Cody Rhodes after he met Travis Scott. One's for the wrestling fans. Nobody else gets it, but there's two people who get it. Thank you, Aaron. Is Officer Powell everyone's least favorite character or just me?
I mean, yes, in the context of this arc, he is a horrible person. I did love Matt kind of giving him crap in court of like the thing about the fast fists and all of that. I loved, like, we'll get into it deeper in the episode, but I loved how Matt is such a good lawyer and also a very flawed lawyer. Like some of his strategies do not make sense and are definitely flawed, but like that was definitely the first moment of the episode where it's like, oh, he is like not messing around at all.
I, for a second in that last episode as well, thought that man got spiked on his head like an 8711 stunt man or whatever it's called, 87 North at David Leitch Groups. They called in the stunt team and he sold that thing like he got his head was in his lungs. Punisher logos are popping up throughout, obviously at the end of the episode as well, but we see the one graffiti on the wall and in it says triggered. This is to me an obvious play on just the culture we live in as well. And that goes back to last week's conversation, which we talked about how people in positions of power probably shouldn't adopt a Punisher logo, which is just a sentiment of taking the law into your own hands, brutally so. And triggered is obviously something that feels like the people who are doing that, or people who enjoy the people who are empowering themselves with that logo, trying to encourage or rally behind that abuse of power in words that they know are just going to upset the people who are abused by it. It's a nice touch. It's unfortunately reflective of our world in this context.
I'm just in disbelief. Yeah. I'm like in awe that this is happening in like a major Marvel thing. Like it has happened in the comics. Like there's a really great beat in one of the more recent runs where Frank literally like tears up a Punisher decal that was on a cop car and like lectures them about misusing it. But like to have it be in something that all of these people are watching that is like hitting the mainstream, having this level of attention on that conversation, I'm so thankful for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Jenna said, like shocking and awesome. Like the cops were the villain of this episode, and we talked about before how the word woke has gotten misused and now it means something else. And if like this is the true definition of woke is what this is, but people like certain people are gonna be too dumb to realize it, because it's like a show about a white guy, it's really. I can't wait to see where they go with this, and we're going to talk about that final moment later. But I have a lot of thoughts about that.
Can we get Chase Wilson's comment up on the screen? That's when my man gonna come charging in here.
For the audio listeners, he says Karen isn't mildly inconvenienced, so Frank can't show up yet. I have loved every single meme about that, because there's the gif going around of like Jake Gyllenhaal just like loading all of these different weapons from one of the movies that he's in, and like that's been going all over social media, and people are like, that's just going to be Frank the second that like Karen trips over a curb or something. So I love that we have another built-in narrative to bring him in that isn't just Karen being inconvenienced.
I'm just ready for everybody to hear John Bernthal going.
I just learned that Karen and Frank are like a huge ship. Mm-hmm. Is anyone in this chat or in our show like a big Frank and Karen shipper? Is that
what do you call that? Kank?
No,
no.
I think it's Castle with a K. I think they call it Castle with a K.
Oh,
I could be wrong.
Kank sounds wrong.
Yeah.
I don't like it. As soon as I said it,
but I'm not particularly like pushing for it either.
Same.
We got a $13.99 here from RJ. RJ, thank you, my friend. You said just wanted to pop in and say hi and show my support. Watch the show, and we'll catch the VOD later. That's a good thing about Face Hero. You can watch it whenever you want, and there will still be forever my Frank Castle impression living on. I appreciated that. I like that there is a tracksuit mafia man who's going rogue, and you just know that's not going to end well for him. I actually thought Buck was just going to kill him right there. Mm-hmm. So tracksuit mafia Luca owes Victor $1.8 million. I don't really know Victor's importance. I don't think he has a huge importance other than inconveniencing Luca and setting up this story thread. But I do sit here and wonder, if something happens to Luca, are the bros going to be mad? All the bros from Hawkeye?
What can they do?
Yeah.
Aren't two of them still drunk somewhere? Aren't two of them like, weren't they carried off by a bird?
Oh yeah.
Ow, yes.
But that was like at least a year ago. They had to have like gotten more people in their ranks. I don't know.
Hey, thanks, Rough Landing Tony, for the $1.99. We appreciate you. All right. What else? Oh, okay. So Angela Del Toro is in the courtroom. Angela is Hector's niece. Very different outcome to all of this in the comics, because Angela grows up with Hector. Hector retires from being White Tiger. He doesn't get killed off. He's like, you know what, I'm hanging it up, because basically almost everyone around him gets killed. So he's like, maybe this isn't a good thing to be doing. So he stops being White Tiger. Angela Del Toro then becomes White Tiger. She's obviously a bit older in the comics. I don't know if this little girl is going to be taking up the mantle. Might not be fully equipped quite yet, but very different storyline. White Tiger is very much a mantle in the books. So it's a possibility that, who knows, maybe we got another young Avenger on our hands. I mean, there's a bunch of 12-year-olds running around with superpowers at this point. So anything could happen. But I do think Angela is going to live with a chip on her shoulder after what just happened to her uncle.
I liked how they teased all of that, especially like in juxtaposition with how it is in the comics. It's very similar for like DC fans of like how the Wildcat mantle is kind of done, except they're more closely related. But I think that this is the best way to tease it, just at kind of as a long play, like him having the line of like, it's a calling. It's not just who I am. Like there's so much more to it than that. I think naturally leads itself to having a successor later down the line.
Yep.
This is like a classic, going to be like a recast, aged up situation.
Yes.
I bet you anything.
Yeah.
That eventually it's gonna be like, oh, so new White Tiger. That's my guess.
I loved the moment where Matt pulled out the White Tiger mask in the courtroom. Dude is actually a really good lawyer, like a really good lawyer. Oh, Jamie's got thoughts.
I know it's the right lawyer call, but that man without permission. That's not okay. I'm sorry. Like, yes, it was the right lawyer call, but I thought like that was nasty work, and he should have asked him first.
It was a fascinating plot twist, and it is so emblematic of just Matt's own relationship with being Daredevil. And it feels like that is such a loaded moment, both like within his own narrative and Hector's. But I agree with Jamie of like outing him is a thing like that happens all the time in comics with various characters outing each other. But like to completely take that away from Hector was such a bold choice. It ultimately paid off, but like it was definitely risky.
Yeah, high risk. I mean, I understand the dilemma with it. Man's a good lawyer.
As someone who stays away from wagering on things, I'm like, that boy has a problem. He needs to go to call one of them hotlines. You gamble with this man's life. As soon as he did that, I was like, that's not going to end well. The whole courtroom is full of crooked police officers, man. I feel like I thought he was going to get shot on the courthouse steps. I was surprised he even made it back to the crib.
No, he was dumb enough to put the damn thing back on.
I know. I was like, oh, man, come on.
That's what gets me mad, though. Because Matt tells him, like, oh, no, you can't wear the suit anymore. Like somebody in the comment, like, that's ultimate. You're a hypocrite, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I think he should have told him. He should have told him he was Daredevil, like, as, like, a payment. Like,
why? What would the benefit have been?
Nice, being fair.
He got the man out of a life sentence. He got him out of a life sentence.
But then he also sentenced.
How long is this life sentence now that he is
As the chat is pointing out, like once Matt finds out that this happened, like the Catholic guilt is going to wash over him, like in a lethal way. Like it is going to be paralyzing for Matt once he finds this out, because yes, he got him out of the prison sentence, but then by outing him immediately led to him being killed. Like it's a very tricky situation, and they handled it very well in the show. It's just it is a very complicated decision to make.
Interesting.
You'd think he would carry this with him for a long time. And I asked Michael Cuesta on that interview if he thinks Matt is taking a burden of guilt from it. And he said, yeah, I think so, but I won't say anything. I agree. He should be like, damn, that's kind of on me, bro. It's kind of on me, but you know.
That's like 10 Hail Marys at least. Okay.
He got him off. He did what he had to do to win the trial. Telling him he's Daredevil wouldn't have benefited in the courtroom. I'll tell you that right now. The BB reports, I don't need them. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't need any more BB reports.
I quite like them.
Me too.
I eat pizza. I don't know if they're necessary. I agree. Like I don't know, but I like seeing New Yorkers like this, because this is like a New York show, and I just watched last night The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, the 70s one, not the remake, and it's just such a beautiful New York movie, and a thing that makes a good New York story. Yeah, it's a fantastic film.
When I think of New York movies,
well, yeah, and you're making fun of me, but
I think he thinks you're talking about the remake. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not talking about the remake.
Oh, I did. I was going to ask you who's in it. I was going to clarify by saying who's in that.
No, I'm talking. The remake's not bad, but the original's a million times better. But the point is that to make a true New York story, you have to see New Yorkers. And even if like they're doing it through this weird BB format, I like that they're showing us New Yorkers, because that's what Daredevil's always been, a New York show.
I'll also say, with like the comic argument, there are countless instances of comics peppering in little like man on the street kind of perspectives from random civilians, of whether you see them like actually reacting to things that are happening, or you have like, here's an investigative news report and they're just talking to people on the street. Like that is a huge staple of comics. And I do agree with Jamie, like it adds more flavor to the story that you're telling. So I like them. And also they're so short in the grand scheme of things. Like by the time you even register that one's happening, it's basically over.
Does Aaron, do you have an opinion?
How many people quote that Lucy Lawless thing from Spider-Man 1 now? You know what I mean? Like the weirdest parts of these things end up enduring. As someone who's like was reading Moby Dick when I was in school and being like, why are we talking about whales? Like, why are we doing the weird whale anthropology? It ends up helping. So I would wish that if it is in there, you know how like in Watchmen, Jenna, like the diary stuff actually ends up mattering, but you only realize it at the end. I hope it's like that.
I mean, but even then, Watchmen has like the whole pirate storyline, which like you can argue whether or not that actually matters. So it's like there still is value in having that like supplemental material in the story that you're telling. I think it just adds more flavor.
They're fine. I just need to be pissy about something. I mean, it's a good time for me to go grab another Diet Dew. That's all it is. Also, though, we're talking about little YouTube reports and stuff. It's 2026 in the MCU now-ish or whatever. Nobody's filming in a 4:3 aspect ratio.
Oh, geez.
Especially not a 22-year-old reporter.
Zack Snyder just took that personally.
Do you know how you'd have to put in an extra effort to film something and publish it in 4:3 these days? Nobody's doing it.
This is what makes her a professional who gets in with the mayor. Like she has meetings with the mayor because
she gets in with the mayor because she's broadcasting on your grandmother's television aspect ratio. And all the kingpin voters, that's who would vote for this guy.
Wow, Beanie sounds like he just walked out of the Taking Repel in 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you're becoming the Penguin.
BB in the doit. Report. Vic, you're a good man. You're a good woman, BB. You're a good kid. All right. I love the bit where I wanted to point out that some time must pass during this episode because Matt and Sherry and Kirsten had a lot of witnesses to track down to give testimonies for White Tiger being a good guy. They had a lot of people up there. So some time must have passed, like weeks at least, right? Because that's not something that just happens. This all takes some effort.
I also assumed it was weeks just given the counseling sessions with Wilson and Vanessa. I'm assuming they're not going in every day or every other day to their marriage counselor. So it's probably been a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Also, I think the thing that the show always has done from the beginning is kind of play it fast and loose with how quickly a trial happens in real life. Like when they got to the Punisher trial in season 2, it's like, the DA really decided to speed this one up. They have to say that because it's nonsense. It doesn't make sense. So I think it's a mixture of time is passing and also it's not really realistic in terms of courtrooms.
I don't mind it moving quickly though. I kind of appreciate it. I don't need
it.
We didn't need this White Tiger trial to last 6 episodes. So good on them for moving through it. I wish we had a better picture of the MCU timeline. Nobody really wants to comment on that or give clarity on that anymore, but it is what it is. I love it's the right thing to do bit. I love the way that was shot. I actually I watched this episode had to be almost 2 weeks ago now. And in my interview with Michael Cuesta, the director, I hadn't had an opportunity to freshly watch it. And I regret not asking him about shooting this because it is all one shot when Matt is asking him and it pushes in on Hector. And it's a really beautiful moment where it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. And I just thought that was a really nice way to hammer it home. And then the rebuttal, I'm not going to lie. I don't like that guy, but also a good lawyer. That was a hell of a rebuttal in saying just because you have done good things doesn't mean you can't do bad things. Yeah, we've seen that in our world. But also, he took that as the softer approach. Just because he's good doesn't mean he couldn't do something bad. I was like, damn, he's making a good argument. This sucks. And then he was like, and by the way, when you get hit by a train, you're still alive and your bones do this and your eyeballs pop out. I was like, whoa. And the jury was just sitting there like, we got to put somebody in jail.
That was the one bit that got to me. I have never thought about the physics of getting hit by a train before. And so it was like, well, that does suck to picture that, but we still know what happened as the audience.
We've got a comment.
Look at Jenna being here. I don't remember these episodes of Mythbusters where we covered what happened, Buster, unfortunately.
MCU physics, baby. Your eyes pop out when you get hit by a train. We got a comment just for Jenna from Chris Avila's $9.99. Thank you, my friend. Okay, but where is She-Hulk?
I realized after last week's episode, I forgot to commit to a bit for this entire season, so I'm going to start committing to it now. Where is Jen? Come on. I'm going to do the same thing they did when She-Hulk was airing. Where's Jen Walter? She could have easily been in this episode. Come on.
Could she?
I'm just going to make the straw man argument because they did that every single episode of She-Hulk. They were like, where's Daredevil? So you have to do the same thing here.
That's fair.
I don't know. It would have been fun. It would have been fun to see her in this episode. We didn't need it, but it would have been fun.
I mean, I also think Nova could have definitely played a really good part in that courtroom scene. I'm right there with you.
And Wanda.
Ghost actor to be here.
Yeah.
I'm out of it. I ain't in it for once. Blade wasn't there.
We don't ask for much. We're very reasonable people. This is us being reasonable, one might have said at one time. Matt going to church and sit and pray and be in his Catholic roots was a nice touch. Felt like, a throwback to the old show, Daredevil's roots. I appreciated that. Hector's found innocent. Nice celebratory moment. Kingpin is pissed. He said, I want Hector in the night. So that was...
Do we think we're ever going to see Maggie in the show, his mother? Because the way season 3 ended, it was like, I could use your help. And they kind of, I feel like if this was a Netflix season 4, she would 100% be back. But because it's not, I'm curious if we're ever going to see her again. I think she's an interesting character.
I wouldn't be shocked if she's in season 2. For everybody who's listening and hasn't watched the original series, Maggie was one of the sisters who cared for Matt when he was down pretty often, and eventually he found out that she was his mom, who he never had a relationship with, because he can overhear things that he's not supposed to hear. And he finds out, and that's a big driver in season 3. Actually, that is a huge part of the storyline of season 3, is finding out that his mom has been right there for a lot recently. So yeah, I don't know. I could see that being a factor in season 2 of the Born Again. But if this was season 4, absolutely, you're right. There's no way you could have not done that. Rough landing, Tony. Thank you so much. Punisher's about to be pissed. All right, let's cut to it. Let's get to White Tiger. White Tiger dies at the end of this episode. Brutal moment. Jamie, you kind of hinted that you saw a version of this coming, right?
Oh yes, I wasn't surprised. It was still amazingly shocking, but it wasn't. I think that just from what was going on in real life, I wasn't that surprised. But I think it's an amazing twist to this episode, and I think what is interesting is I don't think that's Frank. I do not think it is. But the last time we saw Frank in Daredevil was Kingpin did set him free, but I haven't seen this Punisher yet. So I don't know what his relationship with. I need to watch those 2 seasons, because last I saw that man, he was technically working for Kingpin, but I still don't believe that it's really him.
Well, you watch that show, you're gonna get a lot of the ooh, right, throwing his friend's face into some glass. Oh my god, that show's crazy. Aaron, what did you think when you got to those final moments when White Tiger goes down?
I was like, wow, maybe nope.
Baby, nope. This ain't Miss Marvel anymore.
He's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, dang. I bounce off of stuff like that because I'm like, man, okay, this is just reaffirming. I'm like, wow, maybe later down the line we'll have an entry here where I'm much more into what goes on. But for right now, I'm like, man, that was bleak. Ariel's sitting there sobbing on the couch. I'm like, dang, man. Let's turn on some Meghan Markle cooks with her friends.
Oh, freaking Paw Patrol after that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what's up with Chase? Let's find out. A police officer we can trust. Wow.
Oh, Jenna, did that? What was that moment like for you?
It definitely got to me because, I agree with Jamie. I had a feeling that Hector's arc, if anything, would just only span the events of this season. It would probably wrap up very nicely. I did not expect it to be literally the end of the episode. I'm so glad that this ended up being episode 3 and not just the 2-episode premiere. I'm glad they reworked it the way that they did, because it would have sucked in one sitting to be introduced to him and then say goodbye to him that quickly. I think this is such a benefit of the show being weekly, is we really get to sit with moments like this. But I agree that it's not Frank. I absolutely think it is some sort of handmade DIY cop thing. We saw the tattoos. We've seen all of the stuff across the episodes. That is absolutely what they seem to be heading towards, and I'm really glad to see that.
Whew. Yeah, no, I never had a thought that was Frank. And as Casually Cosplaying pointed out in our comment section, definitely a different logo. Obviously, same Punisher design, but it's a slightly different logo from what is on Frank's vest when he is the Punisher, the real Punisher. I thought that moment was so shocking, and I think it just sets the tone that this show wants to set. I actually got to talk to Michael about this and the passing of Kamar and how they factored that into this, if at all. And his answer was I mean, the love for Kamar is clearly plentiful, and I'm just going to play this clip. Let's get it. Here we go. it's an emotional process. Working on the episode featuring White Tiger's death, particularly after the passing of Kamar de los Reyes. So, does that sort of influence the artistic approach to it in any way? Or did you finish the episode before he passed away?
No. We finished it way before. Sana from Marvel is the one that alerted me.
Wow.
It had to be almost a year after. I mean, he was definitely not well when we were filming, and at times we had to shoot around it.
Wow.
But when I heard it was devastating, and but the guy worked really hard. He worked through a lot of pain. At the time, we didn't know what was happening with him, and I would check with him every half hour, and he's like, "I'm good. Stop bothering me, Michael. I'm fine. I want to do it,"
Wow.
Which, in retrospect, I really understand where him wanting to do that. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, hats off to Kamar for, getting you would never know he was going through something when you watch this episode. That full interview, we talk a little bit more about that and the ending and all that. And it sounds like the Punisher stuff, as he knew it, as Michael knew it, got reworked a bit from the original story. So just some interesting light if everybody goes and checks that out, or, I'm sure we'll talk about it. You'll see it all unfold. It's nothing spoilery. But yeah, so that's everything I have for tonight's episode. If there's any questions or anything, now's the opportunity to drop them in the comment section. We might answer them. Is there anything else you got? Favorite episode? I'll start with that. This comment here. Favorite episode of this season, if you can tell us. My favorite episode is 8. Episode 8 is woof. It's good. It's good. That's all I'm going to say. But anything else you guys want to talk about on this one before we wrap it up? No,
good stuff. It got me excited to see next week. I'm ready to see more fighting. Let's go, punchy.
Can I just say how excellent Charlie Cox is? Like, again, we talked about Matt. Like, I cannot imagine another actor walking the tightrope of even just this scene, much less like the fighting in the previous episode and like all of the different hats he has to wear in this role. Like, he is just so watchable and so charismatic in this role. And like, I feel like he's only getting better at it with time, which is like so rare and so impressive.
I agree. I almost forgot giving this episode a 10 score all around. So I'll go first, and we'll go around like a clock here, clockwise. I am at, I would say, not enough punchy. But the punchy is substituted with some really good tension and drama and stakes. And so for that, and a freaking shocking ending. So I'm at an 8.9 out of 10. Because decimals are important on this 10 scale. Jamie, where are you at?
I think I'm gonna go with an 8.4. Real good stuff, good B. But it wasn't like until the end. So I'm gonna 8.4. Very, very solid score, I think. No one can claim I hate it.
Damn it. Jenna, where are you at?
See, I think I'm going to be the highest on it on this panel because, like I said, I don't always need the punchy every week. I think if you really get to the root of a good superhero show, like you said, the monologues, all of just the speeches about being a hero, really, really were well executed. And I think like the courtroom drama was as gripping as a fight scene is. Like I genuinely didn't know where it was going to go. So I think I'm at like a 9.4.
9.4. Hey, listen, I was just scared to go too high, if I'm honest. So.
That's fair.
Look at true BD.
Yeah.
Now I feel dumb for the punchy comment.
I
think 8.9 is fair because I can compare it to the upcoming episodes, some of which I think are better than this one.
I see.
So that's kind of how I thought. Aaron, bring us home.
I don't even know what to do because I hate doing this, but 8.5, I guess. 8.5. So it doesn't get to a 9. Just on site because of Ariel, Very moving, like very interesting. You know what I mean? I kind of, and I'm the only person that's going to do this, mourn what could have been for the rest of the show as it was before, because this is interesting to me, and I don't need it to be flippy dippy all the time. I don't need that, but I can understand people who do.
So that 10 out of 10 cookies. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. You had to hit us with that one, Aquila Assassin, didn't you? That gives us our Phase Hero score of an 8.8 out of 10. I feel pretty good about that. I don't remember what we gave last week. I already forgot, but it was pretty high.
We need to make like a document of
I was gonna say
score, because there have been times I'm like, I wish I remembered what I gave that thing to compare it in my head. We should start a document.
And then at the end of the year, make like a top 10 graphic of like the highest scores we gave. I feel like that would be great.
Baby.
It's actually a pretty good idea. Yeah, I think we need to get in a spreadsheet and do that. So 8.8 out of 10 for Daredevil episode 3 from the Phase Hero crew. Thank you, everybody. A lot of high, 8s and 9s, maybe a 10 out of 10 cookies in the comment section. Thank you, everybody, for joining. 200 people watching live on a Tuesday night. We appreciate you. If you're listening to us in podcast form, we love you. Jamie, any last words for today's episode?
Yeah, we're joking, but you should watch The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, the 1974 version, not the 2009 version. Another movie I watched this week that I think really pertains to the show is Anatomy of a Murder, 1959 film, and it's a movie about how it's not about the case, it's about good lawyering. For the beginning the defendant's guilty, so it's really interesting to just if you like that aspect of it, I recommend that film. And if you want more recommendations, follow me on Letterboxd. And when you are watching these movies, don't take your phone out if it's in a theater. Oh,
Jamie, did you like Mickey 17?
I haven't seen it tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, seeing it tomorrow.
Never mind. Aaron, what you got?
It's at Some Like Hornet on socials, at How to Watch Free TV on Instagram. We've locked down our first guest for the pod on March 20th. Still ironing some other stuff out. It's going to be so much fun. If we're doing lawyer recommendations, I suppose go play Her Story. It's this weird.
I thought you were about to recommend me an attorney.
Oh, I know a really good one that you've met before. That's really good at dad jokes. Actually, it's Jack Quaid. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Come on back next week.
Jenna?
Man, I'm like disappointed I don't have like a lawyer recommendation on the spot. I definitely will have to bring one for next week. Also, the chat is making. No, I haven't actually seen that. Also, the chat is giving you crap for being a nationally famous wrestler, and I like that punchy is kind of sticking around as a catchphrase. I think that's delightful. It's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on social media. As always, go read some comics, go read Daredevil comics, go read Punisher comics, go read White Tiger comics, and go subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is at Go Read Some Comics. I will have multiple videos in the can for the rest of this week, so definitely be subscribed.
Let's go. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us on a Tuesday night. Thank you to everybody who recognizes that I'm a nationally famous wrestler. If you haven't yet watched, go on the OVW channel. Overdrive is available now. It's completely free. I wrestle there every Thursday, and if you guys watch, maybe they'll put a belt on me or let me earn one or something like that. Go check it out. I'm in the thumbnail this week. It's kind of cool. Very excited about it. Franklin and Bash, another good lawyer show. So, yeah, thanks for everybody who's been hanging out with us on Face Hero. Please continue to subscribe to the channel. Leave 5-star reviews on all major podcast platforms. Send us your questions on social media. And when we are in those hellholes, we will listen to them and see if we can bring them into the show. Play our show for your dad. Play it for your cat. Go to phasehero.com for all the exciting merch that you can get your hands on and wear around wherever you want. It's all very comfy, cozy, and cool. In fact, watch this. Look at this one.
For the audio listener, he is unboxing live on air our host t-shirt.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
I rate this. I think all around reactions, I think we all go 10 out of 10. So there it is. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful week. See you on Monday.